Change is coming is people leaving office, people running for different offices, people elected to different offices. One of the people that are leaving their office after a couple of decades in law enforcement, Pinal County Sheriff Mark Lamb, he joins us now. Sheriff, welcome back.
Thank you, Mike. Well, it's good to be on with you.
So, I saw a post of yours online. You were honored by the Arizona Sheriff's Association. Is it starting to sink in now that this is you're coming to the end of the road with your law enforcement career?
Yeah, it's starting to sink in. You know, those types of things. I was speaking somewhere else at a down in Casa Grande with the police department down there, and yeah, those types of things. They push it on you that this is real. Like you're actually having to walk out the door. So yeah, this is tough.
What did you? Maybe this is too personal the question, but what did you say to your deputies? What did you say to the people in your office? Because it's been you've been very well loved by the people in your office. What did you have to say to them?
You know, we are such a big county that we're always spread out. There's no real opportunity to gather everybody together. You know, we have 8 substations in our county. It's tough. And I got to be honest with you, I haven't had the courage to do it yet. You know, I'm sure over the next couple of weeks, I'll send a Christmas email, and probably between Christmas and New Year's, I'll send an email out to everybody just thanking them, or video. It'll probably be a video that I'm just thanking them for the great work they did. Look, everything I've been able to accomplish as a sheriff, I would have been able to accomplish none of it had I not had great men and women that were willing to put on the badge every day and go out and do the job, and good civilian staff that supported them. And so they're the heroes here that I get to take credit for the work that they do.
What are you most proud of in your career? Is there, when you look back, what do you want that legacy to look like?
Well, look, I've always said I want my legacy to be that I was a patriot who fought valiantly for God, family, freedom, and the Constitution. And I think we did that over the last 8 years. Well, during my time as sheriff, I'm also grateful for the things that we were able to do for our employees and really create a good work environment and get them more money. And it's never enough money, but we're always trying to get them more. And but on a community level, I think the 2 things I'm most proud of is my youth redirection group that we started to help youth that are struggling and going through issues and help those parents. And we had our veterans pod in our jail and our reentry program that we're currently doing in the jail, trying to reduce recidivism and restore the dignity and respect to people that have made mistakes in their life. And I think if I were to walk away saying, what did we do well? I think those are some of the things that we really did well. It had nothing to do with enforcing the law. It had everything to do with trying to help people and change their lives.
Yeah, I think all of those are commendable. I have to tell you, though, I think your biggest accomplishment's been Fridays with Frank. I think.
Probably. I think so.
That if people don't know what I'm talking about, it is an Instagram hit. He is hilarious on Instagram or on any social media platform. That was a pretty clever way to get people to slow down and to realize how dumb they can behave behind the wheel.
Yeah, it really was. We wanted to educate people on the different traffic issues, and it just took off. I think the first one we did was because of the handheld devices while you're driving. And then from there, it just kind of took off. And I get messages from not just people in our community, but all over the country that say, look, I really appreciate it. I've learned so much more about what the laws are and what I should be doing while driving. And so, and we have fun doing it. And we like to show that this is the job that we do every day. These good men and women don't get the credit they deserve or the thanks they deserve for the work that they do every day and for the way they put themselves out there. People aren't always the nicest to them, but they get out there, they do the job anyway, and I think they deserve that credit.
When you've been a public servant for so long, and you ran for an office, and you didn't win the Senate race, but are you done with public service? What's going to be next? Is there some kind of public service still in your future?
Look, I'm not a politician. I'm a patriot. I'm somebody who loves this country, and I love, the Constitution. And while I've been in a position to do something about it, I've always felt the need to do something about it. Politics is a rich man's profession. If you're not wealthy, it makes it really tough to get out and run, especially a statewide race. What do you do for a job while you're running for office? A lot of people don't want to have an employee that's running for governor. So it's hard to, unless you're independently wealthy, it makes it tough. And then governor, people don't realize, pays $95,000 a year. And while that may sound like a lot to some, to be at the head of an agency for $95,000 a year is not a lot of money. So I don't know. I would tell you that politics in my future is not, it's not a high probability, but I am going to stay involved in the border. I'm working with FAIR, the Federation for American Immigration Reform. I'm going to stay very active in border and continuing to tell people what's going on there. I'm staying active in mental health and substance abuse. I'm working with a company called Atlas. They do a great job. And I've got a few other companies that I'll be consulting and working with, and I'm going to stay in that law enforcement space, mental health space, and border security.
You have been such a leader on policy issues because of your experience enforcing laws. You are an expert when it comes to the border and immigration enforcement and the dangers that people face crossing the border, the drugs and everything else that happens. Is there some kind of a future possibly? I'm not talking about being a lobbyist, but in that influencing policy so that we have good policy and then it goes with good enforcement of that policy?
As this administration begins to form itself out and they start getting to work and starting to secure our border, holding people accountable that broke the law, I think that there will be some space there to at least consult or help or sit on some boards or something that has to do with helping these policy, people putting the policy together. FAIR is one of them. FAIR does a lot of policy suggestions. They work hard on developing policy, working with congressmen and senators. So that I'm still staying in that space, and I hope to be of some assistance as we try to fix this border crisis that this administration has created or really thrown gas on over the last 4 years.
Finally, what would you want people to know about a career in law enforcement? Near my hometown this past weekend, the county just north of where my brother works, they had a sheriff's deputy who was killed in the line of duty. He was shot by a suspect at a traffic stop. And it made me think about this conversation with you. What does the average citizen need to know about people like you that spend their career in law enforcement?
We just love our country. We're willing to put a gun and a badge on and go respond to those dangerous calls. And we need people that are willing to do that. Now, look, there's millions of calls, and I don't want to diminish or take away from any police officer who loses their life because every single one of them is tragic and shouldn't happen. But we respond to millions of calls a year. And because of our training and how good these folks are, we fortunately usually are under probably 300 deaths a year. And we're responding to the worst things that you can imagine for all year long, millions of those calls. We still need people to go out and do it. It's a great profession. You can lay your head on the pillow every night and you can be happy with what's happening. And so I hope that there's people out there listening that are working towards finding a career. Please consider being in the police force. I've always said, people ask me if it's dangerous. I said, look, you can die sitting on the couch eating a bag of chips, or you can go out and you can do something in your life. And I will tell you, death will find us all when it's time. There's no sense living scared. You may as well go out and make a difference. And I think that if you want to make a difference in this world, you can do it as a police officer.
Sheriff, it's been a pleasure talking to you over these years and getting to know you. And you really are an inspiration to a lot of people. You've done an excellent job. And I just wanted to take a moment to let the audience hear from you, but to say to you publicly, thanks for everything. Thanks for your candor and your willingness to come on and talk and be transparent about things, and not just the job you did, but the way you did it. I thought it was an excellent job, and it'd be an inspiration for a lot of people.
Well, thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. And thank you to everybody out in Arizona, and especially Pinal County. And thank you for always having me on and giving me a voice. I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Sheriff. That is Sheriff Mark Lamb spending a few moments with us in his final couple of weeks in the office of the Sheriff of Pinal County.
Thanks for watching the Mike Broomhead Show. Tap to watch the first season of Amazing Arizonans, a KTAR News podcast. You can also click the button in the middle to subscribe.